Hey everybody, man. I just wanted to go live real quick here. I usually don't make videos inside my house. I'm usually at my Hummer or outside doing something. But I'll tell you what, man, it's crazy because like this morning, I wake up, pretty early. I'm used to barely maybe going to bed at 5 or 6 in the morning. But now that I've got, like with the recent situation breakup in my life, I don't got that 24-hour video chatting shit, staying up 24 hours a day. I can actually go out and do fun things at night and then come home and do like most normal people and sleep and recover from it. But this morning I woke up with this freaking crazy bruise, man. And I put it in the caption picture, but I see if I could show it to you there. But if you look up on my thigh there, look at this crazy bruise right here. I mean, it's dark, it's deep, it's kind of sore. And I'm thinking, like, because you get a bruise, at least me anyway. I get a bruise, and then I think about how the hell did it happen? Because you normally know you fall down, you bump yourself, whatever. Guys, looking like I'm leaning, or I guess opposite this way. But anyway, I get distracted. I wake up with that bruise, man, and I'm thinking, like, well, where the hell did I get that? It's like about a quarter size. There's one on my other leg in the exact same spot. Now that's really crazy when you get matching bruises on each side of your body and you're thinking, what the fuck is that? So I'm trying to think, was I holding anything between my legs or braced up against something to cause these bruises? And then it finally came to me, man. It was freaking funny when it finally came to me when I've been going out at night. And like if you see my one video, Foxy, the Foxy Lady deal, I've been going out at night recently. And I think I explained it in that video when one of the gals that I was interested in talking to all night had put her legs across me, across my thighs to get her more close to here, if you know what I mean. And so when she did that, I know she's trying to be delicate and not step on me or do something weird like that. But I was like, I've been married for I've been with the same person for over 50 years, 52 years. I was with my last girlfriend for 3 years. I mean, they had their good times, but if you had to put it on a scale, good would be like way up here, or no, good, yeah, good would be way up here to the top of the scale, and bad would be way the hell down here because there was so much bad. It took, like, on a scale, the bad ended up weighing down and pushing all the good out, where there was about this much good out of like a 3-year relationship. And I've gone over in videos, and I don't want to spend much more. I'm still going to talk about it because it's part of my life, but I'm gonna go less into the super negative, but I will go about talking about my experiences and things like that. I'm kind of got to the point where I'm hoping today will be the start of never having to be bugged by a certain individual again, never having to hear their name again, you know? So, and I think I'm off to a good deal on that so far. But anyway, I'm thinking, how did I get that? But like I say, this gal, that wanted to get here and was laying her legs across me here. Well, I went ahead and thought, man, I'm going to get into this. I haven't done shit my entire life. I've always been with the same girl from the age of 17, and then another one for 3 years, which seemed like 100 years in hell. So I thought, I'm going to live a little bit, man. I'm usually reserved when I go somewhere. Or when a girl gets in my face or wants to get up, I'm usually like with my hand off, or like I'm married, I'm with somebody, like I'm like very conserved and stuff. Well, I'm stopping that conservative shit that, oh, I got to be the nice guy all the time and I got to be Mr. Trim and proper. Fuck all that shit, man. I did that for the first 50 years of my life. Now I'm going to live a little bit and have fun. But where I got that damn bruise from is when I had grabbed, her ankles. I mean, she had on these freaking awesome high heels, and I kid you not, they were probably, oh, I don't know if they're that one. They were probably 6 to 7 inches high. They were high, and they were sharp, sharper than my freaking pinky. So I go and go ahead and like, it's cool. You can take your feet from flopping them over and you can just put them directly down on my thighs, you know? And then she started grinding. And then I'm like, normally, like I say, I'm reserved and I would have been like, kind of like backed off, you know? But I'm like, hell with that, man. I'm going to live this next 30 years, you know, 20 years, whatever I have left on the earth. I'm going to live it having fun. So I sat there and I like grip her up around her feet there and I slide them back up to my thighs. And then she's grinding. Well, I can feel that sharp little heel and I'm like, you know, normally you feel something sharp, you don't want it because, you know, don't do it. But in this situation, when I've got this setting on my nose and grinding in my face, why not grind the heels too? So I grabbed her heels and I looked at her and winked at her and I told her, you know, like you can get into this as much as you want, man, as hard as you want, whatever you want to do. I'm game, you know, whatever. And she started grinding them a little bit, and then I took them and I picked them up and I started spiking them into my hip, you know, like, and she was getting into it big time. And that's where that fucking crazy bruise came from. You imagine having a big 7-inch high heel stabbing down into your leg. So I'd have to say, as bruises go, that's going to be one of my favorite bruises I've ever gotten in my life. But it's just, I mean, it's just crazy. It's super cool. And the other day, I had halfway planned on going back out, doing some things on a Sunday. And then I got so sore during the day because I spent it having fun with my grandkids, which I could hardly ever do when I was in my 3-year relationship because I had to be in 24/7 video chat with the individual. And there did actually come a point in that relationship where like a family guy, man. I've been about my family my whole life. I forgot or forgot all the fun in the teenage years because I was with somebody, you know, and then I had kids into my late 20s or early 20s, you know. I had kids, I'm family, I'm about my wife, I'm about who I'm with, you know. So that's just how I am, you know. I'm not out there and stuff like it was more important to me to do that now, you know, and stuff. And I don't regret none of that because none of my kids grew up having to explain that they were molested by some babysitter or something because they were never out of babysitters. You know, they were either with me or they were with my wife. We didn't trust anybody because I was so overly cautious. Like, there's not going to be nothing that happens to my kids. For one, I'd kill or I'd unalive the person. I'd unalive the person if they ever touched one of my kids. So that alone, I would have been in prison for the rest of my life. So my wife and I, just made sure, you know, there was like maybe 3 people that we trusted with our kids and stuff, and it would be minimal time. And it was when the kids were old enough to talk if anybody ever did something. So, you know, and it would be like an hour spending over at a friend's house. None of this, like, you know, being gone and we're going to go off and philander around and act like we're single people with no kids. No, our kids were our lives, man. But as for this going out stuff, guys, I'm going to focus all that negativity I had to dump, you know, because it's like this, guys. At the end of the day, just remember this: when you're arguing with somebody that won't ever admit they're at fault when they're at fault and they know they are, and there's overwhelming evidence pointing to the fact that they screwed up and they're so prideful they can't say I'm sorry, you know, I made a mistake, they got to try to make it to be your fault. Like, I can't say I'm sorry. I've got pride. I've got this Filipino pride. I could sure cause a whole lot of fucking problems, but I won't ever apologize, you know. I'll turn it around and make it look like you did something. You know, that's fucking bullshit, man. I spent 3 years of my life dealing with that garbage, man. 3 fucking years. So, it's like, it's not worth it, man, because you know what I figure in that 3 years? I was like a bee trying to explain to a fly why honey's better than shit. You know what I mean? That's how I look at my last 3-year relationship. I spent 3 years arguing with a fly why honey tastes better than shit, and I was never able to commute that message to this person. They were just beyond any help. And fortunately for me now, man, that burden has been lifted off my shoulders, and I haven't been this happy. God, I hate my beard looking crooked like that. The fuck. Sorry, guys, just little shit like that bugs me. I hate looking in mirrors when everything's opposite of each other. Pardon me. But I wasted 3 years of my life. I'm not gonna waste 3 days of my life from now on. And I set boundaries. I tried to anyway with my former girlfriend because she would, just jump at you and talk down to you and try to rip you down for nothing. Nothing. And I'd say, like, hey, you better watch the fucking way you talk to me. I won't put up with that shit. I don't put up with shit from nobody. And I put up with it and I adjusted to it. No more adjustments. No more adjustments. I'm going to set some parameters out now with because I'm going to be going out a lot. I mean, I used to think like, oh, go out on the weekends, everything. I'm going to go out every fucking chance I got. And I got all the chances in the world because I'm retired. I have my grandkids I'll still be active with and all that business. But I'm going to go out as much as I want to, man. There's not going to be no more. I can't be with my grandkids because I can't make it back in time to complete an all day video chat. And none of that shit's gone. And I'll have to admit to you, midway through the relationship, when that became an issue, you know what broke my heart? My little grandson coming up to me when he saw me one day. And he said, Grandpa, you don't love us anymore? And I said, what do you mean, Grandpa don't love you? I said, of course I do. And he goes, but you don't come see us like you used to, and you don't play with us like you used to. Well, you know why I didn't? The 3 year baggage that I had hanging over my shoulder. They would get jealous of my grandkids, of my daughters, my family. I was supposed to be on a limited time, and I better say, I'm going to be there 5 minutes. Come back. I'm not a guy that listens to orders of people bossing me around. So, like, if I tell you I'm going to run uptown, I might not come back for 4 hours because I may have met or seen half a dozen people along the way that wanted to chat with me, or conversations that were brought up. I get back when I get back. Oh, not if you're dating a jealous Filipina. You better have the GPS tracking. You better have accountabilities. And you know what I started doing just so I could rub it in this individual's face? I started getting receipts for everywhere I went. Walmart, gas stations here, dollar stores, wherever I happen to pop in at. And then she'd start making her claims, about, oh, I know, this time, 3 hour, you're not here. And I just pull out receipts out of my pocket. Look at that motherfucker, Walmart at this time. Look at this station at this time. Look at this one at this time. Where was I cheating at? Well, still 800. But it was funny, man. It was funny. And I put up with that shit for 3 years, guys, man. And I'm not totally gonna say it was a total bad thing because it was like going to a university and getting a doctorate in 3 years instead of four. Because now I've got so many, I'm prepared for any of that. And bottom of the line, like I say, why does a bee argue with a fly that honey tastes better than shit? That's not going to happen anymore because there's not going to be arguments anymore. I get some neurotic, freaking psychopathic broad raising her voice to me over some trivial thing, trying to flip the script when they do something clearly wrong to make it look like it's your fault. She's going to be gone, gone. And it's going to be that quick. No explanation, no talking to a brick wall that just keeps talking louder than you. None of that. Not even waste. It's gonna be like this. Like, see ya. You know. But yeah, I didn't get in this to get into all that crazy relationship shit. But I am gonna still make videos about it. I was kind, like I said the other night. I thought I'm gonna be generous, and then I'm gonna take these down. I still got them. I could still put them on right now in about 2 seconds. But I figured I'll be generous. I'm going to go ahead and shelve them, pull them back off of my channel, but they're still steadily there where all it takes is clicking a box and loading them all right back up again. And because for one thing, I didn't do it because the fly I'm going to refer to this individual as the fly that thinks shit is better than honey. I didn't do it because of her. I did it because of myself, because I thought, do I want this negative Nancy anywhere like near anything? There's just negativity. It was one good month and a dreadful 3 years that I had with that relationship. So I don't want to know more. So I'm thinking, why do I have all this on here? Do I want people to see me that way? Like, man, this guy's like mad and he's pissed off and all that. No, I don't. Because you know what? I'm past that, man. Look at this shit. Got the bag under this side cleared up. I still got this one. This side's getting to sleep and this one isn't. But anyway, I just wanted to do this quick little live stream because I thought that was so ironic, man, to have that little crazy bruise on my leg. And like I say, when you usually get a bruise, it's one thing to have it on one side, but when you get matching bruises in the same spot on different parts of your body, like on opposite sides, and then it came to me right away. It's from those freaking big old high heels and stuff. But I tell you the truth, guys, too. I gotta get my damn alligator outside today. I've been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. And he's got to get out there now. I mean, he's been inside, and plus he needs to get back out there to that vitamin D of the sun and get back out there and get moving around more space because he's got a humongous pond thing that he can swim circles in and just do all kinds of stuff. And then there's a platform in it where he can come up on the platform, and get up into the sun, but he can still swim underneath it and stuff. But I got to do that today for sure. And what I think I will do is I'm going to get a bunch of clothes washed up. And then, because those bruises brought back some very recent nice memories that I don't want to just live in memories. I want to go and make more memories. So what I think I'm going to do is get my alligator outside today, get him all buttoned down, get some laundry done, and then I'm probably going to go ahead and run back up to Lincoln tonight and repeat all those steps I had on Friday all over again. You know, and this time I may drop off at some other bars down the street because if you're familiar with those street in Lincoln, the whole freaking street through the city and the downtown area is loaded with bars everywhere. Bars. I don't know if there's probably some older people like myself that mingle throughout them, but there's a lot of college girls there, just tons of college. Because the university is right there. The University of Nebraska is like bang. It's just 4 or 5 blocks down from the bars. And then actually, like if you were to draw a map here, and I'd say the university is here, and then you've got about a 2 block area here and all these streets here loaded with bars for the college kids. And then when you go down here to O Street that runs here, it's got all in the downtown area just stacked full of bars, both sides of the street. Everyone you go over is a new bar. So I've only been in that situation once when I went up with a friend many years ago, like 20 years ago. And he wanted to go into a few of them. And, that's back when I was with my wife and everything. So I was real reserved. I didn't get into anything crazy, but it was cool. It was cool as hell, man. We went into an Irish pub that the decor on the wall and it looked like you were dropped in Ireland and you were actually in an Irish pub. They had it so cool inside of there. So I may go just Peter Patter in and out of those things too. And I'm also going to go to another thing that I did my whole life. It was I was never big on buying fancy clothes or doing anything like that. I was a very simple dude, man. The 5 years I worked at the prison, believe it or not, I didn't have anything. I didn't have pants. I think I had one pair of Levi's and I had shorts I would wear and so a couple pairs of sweats. And I would wear my uniform because I was always working. I'd be work 2 shifts. Well, who's going to run back home getting street clothes if you got to go to the store or do something because you don't have time? I only had 2 or 3 hours I was sleeping a day. So I would just sit there and I'm in my uniform. Everybody always just saw me in the uniform because I was working or I was coming home from work, stopping in a store to pick up something to go back home. So I went about 5 years where clothes weren't a factor to me. because I had, my uniforms that I was in almost 24 hours a day because I was always working. So I've never been big on buying clothes. Um, when I was little, my mom would shop at thrift stores. We'd buy new clothes too, but she liked to go to these thrift stores, and I was never like one of those kids that's like, oh, I don't want to wear this, or it's used, because it was cool with me. I was never about that, and so I guess I carried that through to my life. That I'm, if say if somebody got me a shirt, one of my family, and said, hey, I found this at the thrift store or whatever, if it's a cool shirt that I like, yeah, I'm gonna wear it. I don't give a shit if somebody's wore it before and stuff. But now I'm gonna focus on clothes because now I don't got my money flying 10,000 miles away to a foreign land. Now my money can stay in my pocket and I can actually buy shit for me. So I'm gonna slick it up big time. I don't want to get into buying too many things now because I'm dropping weight like skyrocket, man. I've already lost like 45 pounds, and I did that in about 35 days. So it was about a pound or two a day or it was more than that, about 2.5 pounds a day that I was able to drop, you know. And I just last night ended up my daughter, because I was starting to get past where I was going to pass out, and I was like weeding in the yard and stuff like that. Well, I was starting to get where I was kind of like feeling like I was going to pass out. And so I sat there and told her, whoa, I said, I don't know if I can weed eat your yard anymore. I said, I'm about ready to drop. It's nice and warm out, and I hadn't ate in a long while. I'm not talking like most people say I haven't ate and they had a big old freaking huge breakfast. Then there's just a couple minutes till noon to lunch and they're starving already. I'm talking I haven't eaten days and days, nothing, empty stomach completely. And so, and then I took some vitamins too before I left. And I bought a bunch of vitamins. I'm going to get back into getting healthy again and just spending the rest of my life having as much fun as I can possibly cram into it and stuff. So I think those vitamins and supplements, when I took them, they hit that empty stomach, and there's really nothing, because they say to have something to eat so it has something to absorb into to go into your body. Well, these are just pills dropping into an empty stomach that doesn't have anything in it, you know. So your stomach's not going to digest it the same way, as if you had a little food or some milk or something like that. But I was ready to pass out, man. And so she said, are you hungry? And I said, well, just a little bit. I said, I'm not hungry to say that I'm hungry, but I know if I don't eat something, I'm going to probably pass out. And I said, so yeah. And she said, well, hey, I'm going to go make something. I said, that'll be awesome. So I sat outside on the porch, it was nice weather. I was talking to my grandkids and just chilling out there. And then they running out the door like crazy there, so I could smell this freaking wonderful freaking smell, man. And I'm thinking she's cooking up some kind of gourmet meal because the smell smells so freaking wonderful. And then I sat there and asked the kids, like, your mom's cooking? Yeah, what's she cooking? I don't know, grandpa. And then she came out and gave me, it's a hamburger. And it's not like a hamburger I would make with just beef and boom, 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 cake it with mustard, throw some ketchup on it, slap it down. She had seasonings in it, half a dozen different seasonings. And this fucking hamburger tasted like a steak, man. I mean, it was fucking delicious. And so like I ate one, and then and what's weird when you fast is when you eat, you'll chew the shit out of your food. You won't just do big bites and swallow anymore. You'll treasure the food in your mouth. And I mean, you'll really just make sure it's pure, or I forget the word they call it, but where it's like baby food, it's so crunched up, and you'll treasure like every swallow because that flavor tastes so good after you haven't had any for weeks and stuff. So then when she did that, I thought, well, that's great, man. And I went out and did some more weed eating because she got a new electric weed eater. So I was out weed eating the grass, along the sidewalks, doing stuff like that. And then my back started going on me, where my back started hurting real bad in my lower back. So I was like, man, I'm gonna have to tap out on this stuff and come back maybe tomorrow and mess with it. So then I went inside, and then I was still like, the hamburger was so fucking good, man. I told her, hey, I said, can you go ahead and yeah, or I said, hey, is there another hamburger, and stuff. And she goes, yeah, I have another one in there. And I said, oh man, I said, would you mind, making it or grabbing it for me? because I was chill back in a recliner, and then she brought it to me and everything, and she put some shredded, like a probably one of those three Fiesta cheeses where it's three different cheeses shredded, and she put that on there and just everything. That fucking hamburger was like a $20 restaurant hamburger, man. It was fucking delicious. But I ate that, and that one wasn't ate because I was particularly hungry. It was just because the other one tasted so good. And so I thought, man, I'm dropping weight like no tomorrow, so I can eat a couple hamburgers. Well, when I got the other one, man, it filled me up tight, man, where my stomach. And what's funny is when you're really heavy, you can't feel when you're eating food. Like, you know what I mean? You don't feel any differences because your belly's so tight and all this. But when you start losing weight and your skin starts getting more loose and flexible and starts going back down to the way it used to be, then you just eat something and you can feel that belly bump, where before you have so much fat in front of it, it doesn't make a difference. You start losing that weight and you eat, a good meal or whatever, like those two burgers, you're gonna feel that little belly bump and your tummy tight or your stomach tighten up a bit. And you're like, I haven't had that feeling in fucking 30 years. Because well, it hasn't been that long. I only started gaining weight in my mid 30s or so. But anyway, that was like that, right? Well, then I'm sitting there, and I used to like to do like food reviews. If you look on my channel, there's food reviews on it all the time. And I sat there and would do them, and they're cool videos to make because everybody wants to see like what does the new burger taste like, what somebody think about it, before they go out and buy it. And I'd always have I did one before on a YouTube channel I used to have where I almost nonstop just did food review videos. And it was real popular. Everybody, people in the town that I was in, and it's only a town of about 13,000 people. It's not like a million population. But the people in that town wouldn't recognize me and they go, dude, what are you going to do on the next food review thing? And I'd laugh and say, oh, whenever something new comes out, I'll go hit it up. But and stuff. But that was kind of cool and all that stuff. Of course, now I can't do that anymore. So I was always used to when I go up there to do a food review and snag my laptop with me. But I got in that same mood last night because I thought I'm up here, and like I say, since my money's not flying 10,000 miles away anymore, and it's staying here in America, in Nebraska, in Philly, in my pocket, it makes things a lot easier to do things. And not be worried about, oh, if I do this, am I going to have enough money to send across seas. So anyway, I got this mode like it for Mexican food because when my daughter went with me and we went to Lincoln on Friday and we had a crazy time up there. She's like, she thought I was going to be drinking heavily, which I was bound and determined I wasn't, and I didn't, and I drank 3 Heinekens. She was like a designated driver type of thing. And I told her, you can drink heavily and I'll be your designated driver. I said, I'm not going to get drunk. But anyway, and she goes up there with me. Well, we thought, hell, man, we're in Lincoln. We have a Taco John's down in Beatrice. And it's all the little things are a little different. But she likes Taco Bell and I like Taco Bell. So I said, man, let's go ahead when we're done here, man. Let's boogie over to Taco Bell. It don't close till 3 a.m. in the morning. We'll go over there and get something to eat and then smooth it on back home. And so we went over there, and our eyes was definitely bigger than our freaking stomachs, man. Because I'm ordering like or I think I ordered three soft tacos, and then a bean and rice cheese, this and that. And she ordered 4 or 5 this and that. She ate one bean and rice cheese thing, and she tapped out. She was done. And then I ended up eating a soft taco and one of the bean and rice things, and then I was at full capacity, man. My stomach couldn't hold anymore, and stuff. And then my stomach was dead empty. There's nothing in it. So I would have thought I could have squeezed in some more, but nothing. That it was like where you feel it coming up here, when like you keep eating and you're gonna gurge it back out. But back to like the other night, I'm leaving my daughter's house and I'm just doing this food thing for Mexican food, right? So I go ahead and I sit there and go to the Taco John's, which is like a Taco Bell, just a little different. And I'm thinking I'll just order me like 2 soft tacos, and I should be able to get them in me. And I was full, man. My freaking gut was up to here. Like if I would have, swallowed a piece of gum, it would have overloaded my stomach. But I'm just bound and determined. I got to get these soft tacos. So I go up there, and then that girl, man. Now that you can actually start being more humanized, and you're not bogged down in a 3-year shit relationship, arguing with the fly why honey's better than shit. And you can actually kind of be more yourself and be out there. I can be like my old self again. No anger, no being mad, because I was like that my whole life until I had this little 3-year rendezvous, which put me in the dumpers, man. I was in a constant state of stress every day. When's the next argument going to come? Oh, this, what this? Oh, do I do a video call now, or is there going to be something to argue about? All that shit's done now. So I can start living normally again. So I go up to Taco Bell and I do that little order. Well, then the girl goes, "Well, it's only going to be a couple cents more because we're doing a sale where if you buy 3 of them, it's this price." And it was like only like maybe 15-20 cents more. And they cost like I think it was like 250 normally. And I was like, "Damn, that sounds good." Like, "Yeah." I said, "Sure, go ahead and do that. That'll be cool." And it was super cool when I rolled up to the window. She's tatted out, man. She's got tats all over the place. And I love tattoos, man. And so I go ahead and she opens up the window and stuff. And I said, "How much was that?" And she said like six something. Fucking telemarketers, man. You know how I handle them? I just do the old click and hang up. And that's the end of that. But I immediately tell her, man, I handed her the money and I said, "Hey, you have some sweet tattoos." And she said, "Huh?" And she leaned out a little further. And I said, "You got some awesome tattoos." And then she smiled like ear to ear. And it's like it boosted her. Maybe she's had a hard night with customers that aren't nice. I don't know. But she just got super happy right away. And then was super, when you're nice to people, well, except some people. I can mention one to you that you can be as nice as you want to be to them, and they're still going to throw shit in your face and be bitter and mean and spiteful. But most people that aren't dealing with psychiatric issues, when you're nice to them, they respond back with niceness. It's catchy. It's like word passes or whatever. So when you're polite and nice to people and you treat them like human beings and you don't dump on them and blame your life's problems on them, you know, people respond in kind. They're not on edge. They don't got to worry where the next argument's going to come at. So she just livened up, man. It was super cool. Handed me my food, big, huge smile, a little chitter chatter here, and then I was on my way. So then I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to go ahead and make these, eat them, whatever. And I like to put like a little mild sauce on them. Never used to like sauces at all. I didn't like any kind of condiments at all. And but then I got into it older in life, like, what the fuck was I missing all my younger life? Why the hell didn't I put this shit on my food? So I put the stuff on there on a soft taco. I sat there at the drive-thru because there's nobody behind me before I pulled out on the highway, and I ate the first one. Okay, it had to be kind of like forced down. I could feel it's coming up higher. I eat that one, and then I'm thinking, dang, man. And I'm thinking, I don't really even want to take these home and then eat them. And I'm thinking, I don't like wasting stuff either. So then I just think, okay, I'll let this one settle a little bit. Well, then I get toward the edge of town and I pull off to the side of the road so I can put sauce and stuff on another one. And then I figure I'll go ahead and eat that one. Well, that one had it like Maximus, man. I mean, I was at the verge. Well, all I would have had to do is just go, ugh, and then it would have came out. So I'm thinking I may have overloaded myself big time. This might not have been a good idea. But I'm thinking, what the hell? At the end of the day, all I'm going to do is throw up. And you always feel better after throwing up. And so but I don't like to. But then I started thinking in my head, I got the taste of these things and they're delicious and I can exit it out of my body and not have to have the calorie intake. That's the best of best world. And I wouldn't recommend to anybody to throw up on that scale because you're worried about calories. Don't do that and don't be a dummy that does it and then you turn into an anorexia. But anyway, I'm thinking that. So, but I want to keep it down. My body needs food in it so it can regenerate, kind of get some proteins and stuff back in it. So I can fast again for another couple weeks. And then I get that third one. and I have it in a little bag sitting back over here by me, and I'm just thinking like, man, should I sit here and eat this, or what should I do? And I'm like, it smells so good, and I'm thinking I'm already maxed out. Where you're so uncomfortable, you got to set a certain way so you're not feeling discomfort. And I thought, fuck it, I'm gonna eat it, man. I get it, and I put some sauce on it, and then I start eating it, and it overload right away, like boop, boop, alarm bells going off. It's like up to here. I'm feeling major discomfort right now, major discomfort. And so, between the hamburgers and this all happened over the course of about 7 hours. It wasn't like I ate everything all at one time. But I felt it. So I just like slipped my laptop off the arm of my couch here, and I leaned over into the trash can. And like I said, I just barely opened my mouth, like, and made the little moment. I didn't even have to like dry heave. I just pour it out of me like a fucking faucet, man. And what made it good too is normally if you throw up and you've ate something, like say you've eaten a hamburger, you've taken a couple bites of and swallow, and stuff starts coming up chunky, because you didn't chew it all the way down. And it's like that makes it very uncomfortable when you're throwing up to have clunks of shit coming up. This shit had been minced up so much because I chewed it so good before I swallowed it. It came up like liquid. Of course, you could tell there was hamburger in there and stuff like that, but it was like ground minced hamburger, not these big chunks that are getting caught up in your throat. So it was a clean throwing up, just like a fountain, and then instant relief. So I know I didn't throw up the hamburgers because I had eaten those too long ago. So those were already getting processed. But they would have been those three tacos that came up, all of them, all three of them and stuff. So I just did that, felt instantly better. I was tired because I'd been working, doing things all day and having fun with my grandkids. And then for the first time in a long time, I probably crashed out around, I don't know how long I stayed up last night because I was chatting with some Filipinas online, but I think I freaking, man, it wouldn't have been much past midnight. And most of you say, well, fuck the midnight. I go to sleep at 8. Well, you got to realize my sleeping schedule. I was on Philippine time. Their days are our nights are their days. So I was spending the last 3 years of being up during all of it, days, nights, mornings, here, there. So when I say midnight for me, that's extremely early to go to bed. And then it was so killer because I got a solid sleep, man, all night. And I always wake up a million times at night when I'm sleeping. I wake up, I toss and turn, I get a drink of water, and just did it. So I'm like, man, and then I'm looking at my computer, I pop it open, and I see it's looking like evening, like the sun's getting ready to set because it's still a little dark outside. And I'm like, God damn, did I sleep until like 5:30, PM? So I was like, God damn. And so I open up my computer and it's 5:30 a.m. in the morning. So and that's normally the time I go to sleep. But I'm like, man, what am I gonna do now that I got an actual early start on my day and I can do some stuff? And like I say, now I'm gonna end this here, guys, in a minute, but I'm gonna go out and get my alligator outside. No matter what happens, I'm gonna get him out today and get his pond filled back with water, get him all secured. So he'll be happy out there and stuff. And then if I can, and if I'm not feeling too sore from wrestling around with the 7 foot alligator, I'll go ahead. I think tonight, man, maybe a little after evening time, I'm probably going to go ahead and head back to Lincoln and see if I can create some more of those bruises on my legs, if you know what I mean. Maybe this time get a bruise on the face, from that. Like that. No, I'm just joking. I'm be vulgar. But, anyways, just wanted to introduce some levity into it, guys. I will talk to y'all later, man. I always end things. Peace out. You have someone you haven't told that you love, tell them when you can. Tell them every day. because life's too short. You never know when it's going to be the end. And trust me, I've been faced with the end about 12 times and stuff. And there was things definitely I was glad that I didn't die because I didn't want to leave things arguing with maybe somebody. And you just think about, man, that would have been the last image they had in their head of me as we were in an argument, something like that. So you always want to be on good terms, man. So when you go out, there's not going to be that person thinking like, my last memory is a guy's a prick arguing with me. But with that little bit of advice, I will end this live stream, and I'll probably make a video explaining the bruises again. I don't know if I'll put the live stream up and let it stay up or whatever, but I might make a whole separate video to that, or I might make a new one tonight because I might end up coming up with some more bruises. Talk to y'all later. Peace out, man.